Hold up. Wait a minute.
This is Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know I'm always shooting straight from the hip.
Let's take a trip around the curve.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic. What's going on with this hair, honey? Okay. The Curvy Film Critic, and I am alive and alive. No, I'm joking. Anyway, if this is your first time joining me, give me a big thumbs up to let me know you were here. Click that bell for notifications and subscribe to the channel, right? So today I have a lot to get to. I'm not going to be on long because guess what? Your girl got some news. So I am going to moderate a discussion around one of the films I'm going to talk about, Unstoppable, with the one and the only Jennifer Lopez. I know, I'm about to lose my black mind. Anyway, let's get into it. So what I'm going to talk about today is we're going to go into, I told y'all last week we were going to talk about No Good Deed, which is streaming on Netflix. We're also going to talk a little bit about Unstoppable. And then we're going to get into Mufasa, the Lion King. But why don't we get into Mufasa, the Lion King first? But before we do that, this is what I did last week. I always tell y'all what I'm up to. I moderated yet another discussion. This time it was the director, Laurent Bouzereau, who is the director of Music by John Williams, which is currently streaming on Disney+. He also is the director of the Faye Dunaway documentary that came out earlier this year on HBO and Max called Faye. Wonderful conversation, had a great time with him. Earlier in the week, I went over to the celebration of Black cinema, and the next day I did a junket where I wore this beautiful blouse. And I just had to take this picture because this is what the lobby of the Four Seasons looks like during the holiday season. And I just think it's so beautiful that I wanted to share it with y'all. But getting into No Good Deed. So No Good Deed is a series that's on Netflix. It began streaming on Netflix on the 12th, so you still got some time to get into it. So when Lydia, who's played by Lisa Kudrow, and Paul, played by Ray Romano, decide to move on from their empty nest to forge a new life, they list this gorgeous 1920s Spanish-style villa located in one of the most desirable neighborhoods in Los Angeles. And the real estate frenzy starts, honey. Multiple families are all racing to buy what they believe to be their dream home, convinced it will fix all of their very, very different problems. But as Lydia and Paul know all too well, sometimes the home of your dreams can truly be a nightmare. So as they struggle to hide the dark and dangerous secrets that linger inside this house, Paul and Lydia begin to realize that the only way they'll escape the past is to finally face it. The showrunner for this show is Liz Feldman, who I had worked with on 9JKL, which was a CBS series. And also in the cast is Linda Cardellini, O.T. Fagberl, Abby Jacobson, Dennis Leary, Poppy Lou, Tiona Paris, and Luke Wilson. So I have an interview with the entire cast. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let y'all get into No Good Deed. Hey, y'all. I have been dying to ask this question ever since I saw the series. That moment, Luke, where JD gets dropped by his agents at the valet, baby, I hollered because that actually happened to me.
Well, it's funny because I was saying, like, gosh, I didn't know this was a real thing. I've never even thought about it. And Liz Feldman, the creator of the show, said, oh, it is a real thing, and it happened to me. I was like, well, what? Because, yeah, all you ever hear about is actors letting their agent go, but, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it happened to me, too.
Yeah.
It was not cute. And in my instance, they didn't even come and meet me to my face. They put my stuff in a box and left it at security and said, you can pick it up from security. I'm like, good night and thank you.
You're
But
better off. You're better off.
Yeah, you are better off.
Excuse me, guys. I'll get out of here. But yeah, well, that's why it was so fun for me to, get to play an actor in a not very fun one. I would kid around because usually I go home at the end of the day and I'm redoing scenes saying I should have done this and I could have tried that, or I wish I'd had another take to try this idea. It doesn't matter. JD's an idiot. He's a bad actor. What are you worried about, Luke? Just have a good night and go home and watch Colbert.
That is hilarious.
And Fallon. And Jimmy Kimmel.
Love Jimmy Kimmel. So to lighten it up a little bit, Luann / Margot, she's got some shopping issues.
Yes.
She's got shopping issues with houses. She's got shopping issues with stuff. Do you have shopping issues?
I do love to shop. I do. But I am more like, I have a hard time buying something that's not on sale. Probably spend money on somebody else faster than I could spend it on myself. Because I just don't feel like, I don't know, I feel like guilty doing that. But the amount of time that you can now spend shopping online is definitely making my eyesight go.
Oh, you're good. I do not feel guilty shopping for myself.
I just heard a phrase yesterday. This guy was saying, like, yeah, me and my wife, we were on vacation. We did a little drunk shopping. And I was like, oh, what? And he was like, drunk shopping? Where, you have kind of a boozy lunch and then you go shopping. I was like, oh, that sounds fun.
That does sound fun.
It definitely had me thinking about your character. I mean, it can be difficult to play drunk, and she has one of the great drunk scenes I've ever gotten to see in person.
I was gonna say, as a new mom, did this really resonate with you in a different kind of way?
Yes, it was. When I saw the script and talked to Liz, our showrunner, the creator, about it, that was one of the things that really drew me to the character, is that Carla is pregnant with her first child. This was literally my first gig back from maternity leave. So there was just so much that I could explore all over again, things that I was like, dang, I wish I could go back in my own real life pregnancy and just process things differently. I got to do with Carla. And so I felt really supported. There were so many parents on the set. And so just really talking through the things that I was going through in real life, and also getting to share that and try to forget a lot of it for Carla, because she hasn't gotten to that part yet. It was really fun to walk through.
It's so weird to hear you keep saying Carla, because Carla is my name.
I know.
So I'm just like, is she talking about me? Is she talking about the character? Okay, yeah.
Right.
She's talking about her Carla, not my Carla.
That was a popular name. My makeup artist for the show was also Carla, so we were all always confusing.
I know that you compose. Do you think you'll compose anything for, like, a season 2 if we can?
You know what? Well, I should definitely have a conversation about it. I'm a very average musician.
You see my shock. I'm like, I'm still learning things about
Listen,
it.
Yeah.
he plays the saxophone and composes, and has a project where he directed, composed, and starred in it. Yes, Dave, baby, I did my research. Yeah,
God
okay, I
bless you.
did that.
God bless you. But I can hire myself as the composer when I'm the producer of it. So that's one of the advantages. But no, you're right. I'm gonna have a talk with the bosses straight away. Get on the old keys.
There's a moment where you get something and you pocket it,
Right.
and you don't say nothing about it.
That's your favorite
That's
moment?
my favorite moment, because I was like, he is like, oh, listen, I'm not being shady, OT. Really, you gonna do me like that?
I'm just wondering.
Look, no, I'm not.
The deceit. The deception.
No, not the deceit. It's not the deceit that got me.
What
It
is
was
it?
the thing that he was like, brother was struggling. He needed to get that book out. You know what I mean?
He found a way out of no way.
He was like, this can help everybody all the way around.
Right,
Like,
but listen, we don't want to give it too much away now.
Okay,
But
sorry.
let's just say Dennis struggles with some moral issues throughout.
yeah, but I ain't gonna say all that. You know what I'm saying? But
No, Carla said there's no moral conflict here. That was the right thing to do. That's what Carla's saying. Listen.
that's really what I'm saying. But you can't be like, girl.
I get it.
It was a wonder we didn't have the girl conversation, like girl.
What are you doing? Take it. Hi.
Liz, girl, you did me in with no good deed. Honey, me and my mom binged this until 2:00 in the morning one night.
Really?
Straight up.
Oh my goodness.
Straight up.
That's
It's
I'm
that
really
good.
honored.
I'm looking for season 2, and I'm looking for me to be in it anyway.
You know what? You got to say what you want. You got to put it out there.
Would you all super sleuth something that was happening in your own life the way your character is?
I mean, the inspiration for her sort of super sleuthy personality is that I'm obsessed with true crime, and I think weirdly, I guess a lot of women are really interested in watching true crime. And I think part of that is because we always want to be ahead of what could potentially happen to us.
This is true.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I grew up in Brooklyn. I grew up in sort of like a very gritty neighborhood, and I just have always looked over my shoulder. And I think I just, I think I'm always interested in knowing more.
So I sort of had this muse nearby that I could draw inspiration from, but it was really also on the page. And I think on the flip side, Leslie isn't as good at identifying those things at home. So there's some secrets at home and things she's missing with her wife Sarah, and that was just a really incredible thing to play, of being so on top of one thing and sort of missing something that's really going on in her personal life.
So the flickering light moments. I've had people say that they've seen butterflies when they've lost people and other things, or they think they've seen them crossing the street. Have you had a moment where you felt like somebody that you love that's no longer here reached out to you in a very unconventional?
Yes. He doesn't want to know if it's happening.
Well, no, I you know, my assistant, Christy, she sees crows. The crows are the symbol of your mom. You mind if I tell her?
Christy's like, let it rip.
Yeah. So I respect that and I believe it. I dream a lot. I constantly dream about my parents who are no longer with us. You know, so that's the way they come to me.
Yeah.
You know, as far as the light blinking and all that, I don't know. Yeah, but I want to believe it does happen for other people.
Yeah. I believe it.
I believe
Because
it.
you know what? You can't prove that it's not happening.
We have moments in the series where you feel like you want to take somebody out, and in some instances it may or may not happen. But in real life, has somebody gotten on your nerves so bad where you were like,
Well, we both have children.
You're like, so there's that.
There's times with my kids.
I have in life with someone, a man in a bar,
Really?
where I forgot that I was a woman and came this close to saying, do you want to step outside? Because I wanted to hit him.
Girl, don't let that stop you. I got metal parts. This knee will take somebody out. I'm just saying, being a bionic person is a beautiful thing.
I'm a sports fan, and I'm a New York Jet fan. So there's times where I want to punch the screen, and I'm mad at the refs, and then I curse and yell, and then my wife comes over and punches me.
and that's
It's a
the end
circle.
of it.
It's a circle. Yeah.
Well, thank y'all for letting me sit down and talk to you today. I really had a good time, and I hope you had as good of a time as I
Oh,
did.
yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
cool.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks.
Bye. So that is No Good Deed, y'all, and it is streaming on Netflix right now. All right, there's a movie that I saw called The Room Next Door. It is due for a December 20th release, which is in about 5 days. It stars Tilda Swinton and Julianne Moore, and it's directed by Pedro Almodovar. What I want to say about it is that it deals with these two friends that haven't seen each other in years. And one of the friends she's sick and she wants the other friend to help her die. So Tilda is playing the role of Martha. Julianne is playing the role of Ingrid. So Martha asked Ingrid to help her take herself out. So they both used to work at the same magazine, and Ingrid went on to become like an autofiction novelist while Martha went on to become a war reporter. And eventually, like I said, they were separated by circumstances of life. After years of being out of touch, though, they meet again in the extreme strange situation of what I just stated. This is what I will say about this film. It is spectacularly gorgeous. Pedro Almodovar is a genius with imagery. And if that name sounds familiar to you, a couple of years back, he directed a film called Parallel Lives with Penelope Cruz, and it was absolutely spectacular. It gave Penelope Cruz one of the best performances of her career. It's spectacularly acted. And Almodovar's unique use of production design and production aesthetics and colors, and the way that he shows you the world through his lens is a wonder to behold. And this is his first film in English. Most of his films are done in another language, mostly Spanish. But he shows you with this film, The Room Next Door, he shows you like his fairy tale version of New York City. And as someone who lived in New York City for years, I can kind of appreciate that. he also loves beauty and he loves women, and all of that comes through and shows in his work. And I found myself many times holding my breath throughout this film just because of the circumstances that is this under. Among everything else, it begs the question of how far would you go for a friend to protect their final wishes? And how loyal would you be to that friend when you aren't particularly close and have been estranged for years, but this person, for whatever reason, trusts you with their secret? It will make you think about that. It's also a movie about profound female friendship that's rooted in respect, love, and companionship. More importantly, you can see the friendship between Tilda and Julie Ann kind of flourish and blossom during the course of this film. There's a nice surprise at the end of the movie. I'm not going to tell you, but it will leave your jaw dropped to your crack. That's what I will say. Again, the film is called The Room Next Door. Unstoppable is a film that has been out since December 6th, and it stars Jarrell Jerome. There's my boy, Jarrell Jerome. It stars Jarrell Jerome as Anthony Robles. Anthony Robles wrote a book called Unstoppable: From Underdog to Undefeated, How I Became a Champion. And he co-wrote it with Austin Murphy. It's directed by famed editor William Goldberg, and this is his directorial debut, and it's being done for Amazon MGM Studios. It stars Jennifer Lopez as Anthony's mother, Judy Robles, and Bobby Cannavale as Rich Robles, Don Cheadle as his high school coach, Sean Charles. As his college coach, Sean Charles, and Michael Pena as his college coach, high school coach, Bobby Williams. Anyway, Don Cheadle was the college coach. Michael Pena was a high school coach. You get it. So basically, Anthony has been born with one leg, and he defies the odds and expectations of everyone around him to become a champion wrestler in college, competing against the very school that rejected him, which was Iowa. And he really, really, really wanted to go to Iowa. Like that was, he had studied Iowa. He'd studied the players there. He studied everything about it. And when it came time to get a scholarship, Drexel University came to him with Drexel came to him with a scholarship. He wanted no parts of it. He wanted to go to Iowa, and he was like, so he got the sweetest revenge ever. What I will tell you about this film is that it is a film full of inspiring tenacity and strength and will, fostered by his mom, Judy Robles. Nobody will believe more in you than your family. And this boy, his mother, believes in him more than anybody he will ever meet in his entire life. It was admirable. She has the conviction and a never give up attitude, which is really wonderful to watch Jennifer Lopez play out in the film. And it's not just a wrestling story. It tackles housing crisis at the time where people were getting fraudulent loans from banks. It tackles domestic and mental abuse. There's a lot layered in here, but also what is layered are the stellar, spectacular performances of Jarrell Jerome as Anthony, Jennifer Lopez as Judy Robles, and she actually bears an uncanny resemblance to Judy Robles. It's ridiculous how much she actually looks like her and embodies what she seems to stand for. I've seen some interviews with them along the press tour, and it really is something to behold. So check out, I have an interview with Jarrell Jerome and Anthony Robles, but it is under embargo until after the first of the year. So in 2025, you will see that interview that I have with them when the film drops on Amazon Prime in January. But until that time, it is having a limited run in theaters and has been in theaters since December 6th. So if you can get to a theater to see it, I highly suggest you see it that way, because it's actually a lot. The sound and everything just hits a little different when you see it in the theater. All right, so Mufasa. I haven't seen Mufasa. I have seen 30, and to be very specific, I have seen 39 minutes of Mufasa. 39 minutes. That's all they would let us see. I'm actually going to see the film, I think, tomorrow or sometime this week before the holiday hits. But I've seen 39 minutes of it. Of the 39 minutes that I've seen, I'm intrigued because, as you know, I say all the time, I was in The Lion King. I played Shenzi in the Los Angeles stage production, which was directed by Julie Taymor, and I played Shenzi and was nominated for an NAACP theater award for that role. So The Lion King is very near and dear to me. I have very strong feelings about it. And I was like, okay, this better be good because I'm gonna have some things to say if it's not. But I can report that when I saw what's going on with my shirt, I'm just all kerfuddled today. I can report that the little bit of footage that I saw, it was very, very good, and I enjoyed it very much. So, having said that, I'm not going to review the film right now because I haven't seen it. But what I am going to do is what happened to my background? Oh, there we go. So, but what I am going to do is play this interview that I did with Kelvin Harrison Jr., who plays Taka, and Aaron Pierre, who plays Mufasa. Now, what I will say about this is that I did an interview with Aaron Pierre during COVID, like in 2020, 2021, somewhere around in there, for the Underground Railroad, which was directed by Barry Jenkins. I don't know what is going on with my mouth today. I'm probably tired because I partied to the break of dawn yesterday. Anywho, I told Aaron then, I was like, I'm listening to his voice and he has a very James Earl Jones-ish quality about his voice. I was like, oh, if he ever retires or steps down from doing whatever he's doing, you are the dude. But I'll show you the clip when I show you the interview. So here's my interview with Kelvin Harrison Jr., who plays Taka, and Aaron Pierre, who plays Mufasa, the Lion King. Hey, nephew.
Hey, auntie. How you doing?
You already know. Hi, Aaron.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. So I'm going to remind you, when I interviewed you for the Underground Railroad, I said then, if anything ever happened to James Earl Jones, you should pick up that voiceover mantle. And here we are.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That really warmed my heart. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I could hear when I interviewed you, I could hear it. I could hear it in your voice. But having said that, how has being a part of the Lion King been for you in this capacity as a pre-story? Because as you may or may not know, I was in the Lion King. I played Shenzi in the stage production.
No way.
For me, yes. So for me, it has a completely different meaning. It's very special to me, but I'd like to know how special it is for you two.
Wow.
I'll let you start, Kelvin.
That's iconic. Wow. I mean, for me, we've spoken about this a lot. For me, it was an enormous privilege and an enormous blessing to be invited into this family that is part of the telling of the prequel of the original that we know and love. And I feel like, although I initially entered the experience with a considerable amount of fear and nerves, I was able to, thanks to Barry Jenkins, Lin-Manuel Miranda, these phenomenal artists that I got to collaborate with, I was able to transform that into something that boosted me and propelled me forward. And I really utilized the great James Earl Jones original Mufasa and that iconic, timeless voice that cannot be matched. That was my guiding light. And I used that as a way to find the adolescent who was not yet there. And also in that is using some of the fear and the nerves in discovering this young lion before he becomes the king that we know and love. So, yeah.
I know. And Taka, who knew that it was the other way around? Who knew that Taka was the one that was supposed to be what Mufasa eventually becomes, right?
Right. I think that was the thing that was most exciting to me about the story, too, because I was like, you know, we always have these preconceived notions and we get these Disney villains and we've just labeled them, you know. We even put them in a whole list in the archives because they categorize them. The princesses, you know, the kings, the villains. And, you know, Scar was just sitting there in his lonesome self being like, hey, y'all don't even know my story. So it was really cool. And, you know, I looked up the meaning of Taka, and in Swahili it has two different meanings. One is trash and one is want. And it was so cool to kind of introduce that dichotomy of like how you can live in this space where people can
place one ideal in you depending on how they want to perceive you, or also at the same time is just a desire. He wanted to have a brother. He wanted to be recognized. He wanted to be seen. He wanted an opportunity to feel like he had a real purpose. And they just kind of discarded of him in a lot of ways. And it's a lot about nature versus nurture. And it's the way that how we've also as a society have become kind of discarded of Scar as well. So it's been cool to kind of explore all of those themes. And honestly, I'm still shook on the fact that you played Shinzi. I really want to know more about that, but I'm gonna have to hit you about that offline. I want to know what that experience was like.
I'll tell you all about it.
That's so cool.
But that's my time. I want to close it out by saying, Taka is by no means trash, but I'm sure everyone that has any affection for the Lion King in any shape, form, or fashion is going to want to see both of you inhabit these roles.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I received that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll see y'all later.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. I love talking to Kelvin Harrison Jr. I've been speaking with him since one of his first films is called Monsters and Men with John David Washington. And I get him on just about every film that he does. And I think he's just an exceptional talent, as do I think that of Aaron Pierre. So you guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Again, make sure you check out Mufasa the Lion King when it hits theaters in a couple of weeks or a couple of days. I think it hits December 20th. Check out No Good Deed, which is streaming on Netflix right now. Also, check out September 5th. This has been pushed back release date wise, and I'll get into it a little later. But please make sure that you check that out in theaters. And when I come back next week, I'm going to talk about a film called The Brutalist, which stars Adrian Brody, pictured there. I will finally do the review of Mufasa, the Lion King, after I've seen it. That Christmas, which is streaming on Netflix, I'll get into that. I'll also get into Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, because I have seen that and I wanted to save it for next week. And we will be talking about Baby Girl, Nicole Kidman's new film, Baby, and it is a lot. So I'm going to bounce up out of here. I thank y'all for popping in, whether you were here in real time or not. You know, I love to see you come through. And again, make sure you check out all those films that I tell you about. If you haven't seen my written versions of them, make sure that you go to my site, thecurvyfilmcritic.com. Everything that I talk about here on camera, I have a written review of it either on that site or at the Wrap or someplace else, or at rogerebert.com. So make sure that you check out those sites. And after you've gone there, of course, make sure you subscribe to a channel and hit a sister up. Do a screenshot, send it to your friends. Anywho, I'm going to go meet the Jennifer Lopez and do this Q&A for Unstoppable. So thanks so much for popping through, y'all. I appreciate you. I love you. And I'll see you next week when I get into all of those films and give you some Christmas joy to take with you into 2025. All right? Love, peace, and hair grease. And I will see you later. Bye.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love.